Hey, it's the Chief. I am live. This is the Chief's vlog. So, first of all, I just finished filming a couple things for the board game channel. Little hints on that will be uh, playing RPGs as a 60 plus year old, 70, 80, 90 plus, and why it would be good. So, that'll be coming up. And then a little subset to that is how you go about doing that. So, imagine you've not played any role playing games, or maybe way back when, but you haven't. But imagine never. How would you start if you were 60, 70, 80 plus? And that'll be a follow on. Then I had to film some whiskey shows for the Scotch Test Dummies. Those of you that don't know that, you should check that out. But I filmed and did some fairly rare whiskeys there. Now I'm going to be filling time a little bit because I went live right away. And the way the notifications work is they're kind of strung out over 5 to 10 minutes, is what I've seen. You'd think it'd be instantaneous, and then everybody that's clicked that bell would automatically be like, oh, it's time, let's go, let's go. But the focus of this Chiefs vlog, um, we'll say hello, of course. Hello, Never Fear 1911. The focus of this Chiefs vlog, 1911 suggestion, but I've been wanting to do it for a while, is my live in person. I've got a group coming over, West Marches campaign using maze rats. What else is here? The notifications are slow. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So I'll fill a little time before we get into the West Marches campaign, which is what I'll talk about more. We'll talk a little bit about I like filming. I like wearing the cowboy hat, even though this one's awkward. It's kind of sits weird. You know, if you look at it, it's all like over the place. Boom. But I don't care. The other thing is, I love this shirt. My youngest son, who's 14, has Down syndrome. And they were actually had these shirts for the Down syndrome. It raised money for like a Down syndrome society. Why be normal? And I think, yeah, it has a question mark at the end. Now I've riffed this with the I did rye, RYE, which is a type of whiskey that a lot of people don't drink, but I did rye be normal. But why be normal is something I embody. I'm not normal. First, I'm 6'6". Second of all, I like crazy mustaches. Hello. Hats, weird shirts, manga shirts, odd whiskeys. I like peated whiskey. Um, and I love all manner of games, party games, war games, tactical inside that, a little bit grand strategic, not so much, but Euro games, I love. To this day, my favorite game and designer is Reiner Knizia and Medici, whichever way you want to say it. I love it. Love it. Role playing I played as a kid. I even had like war gamers say, a lot of the board games you like, Ambush, B-17, Queen of the Skies, they lean role playing ish. And luckily, I had a son who literally told me, he likes to say literal a lot. Dad, I don't like your board games as much. I'm like, but son, I have 1,000. Look at my wall of games. He's like, I think I like role playing better. Oh, I've got a couple of those as well. And off we went. And Twilight 2000 from Free League. Love it. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, the cowboy, baby. Cowboy. I'm even going with the look. Hello. Again, I'm going to kill a little time as people come in and get the notifications. I'll explain my background. So over this shoulder, you'll see these very old tractors. I didn't collect these. I think it was it an aunt or an uncle? It might have even been a grandparent that had them for the kids. My grandfather was a farmer in Iowa. And when he passed, I think somebody said, you take these, you have kids. Well, my kids didn't like them, but they're kind of cool. So I like these little tractors. If I go over here, you will see this Matchbox thing. I had that when I was like 9. It's got all my Matchbox cars when I was a kid. I found that in a box. Over here are my Star Wars figures organized in my Star Wars box, missing a lot of the weapons. When Mom would vacuum, I would Boom. Sorry. I haven't had a hard break in a while. Midday, no one else is home. Now my signal is strong. I don't know what happened there. I've got a high-speed internet, but I need to upgrade again. Yeah, I know it froze there. Sorry about that for everybody. Let's see. So we'll talk about these fellas. I got these big, 12-inch Boba Fett. I've got a Han Solo somewhere, his buddy Chewbacca, and I've got a Stormtrooper that's almost yellow now, not white. Those are my 4 12-inch, but I found these guys and I dig them. This is a quote from John F. Kennedy about freedom. If you look back here, when I was a teenager, this is the Vietnam Memorial Wall, and like a businessman who's probably in 40s or 50s, and he's touching the wall where, of course, one of his buddies' names are. And what's real cool is in the relief are like ghosts where his friends are reaching back out. Man, that spoke to me as a kid, and I purchased it actually for quite a lot of money back in the day, and it is still up. A couple games. My wife loves Above and Below, baby. She loves it. Reef Encounter. Never been able to get to the table, but I love the cover art. All right, we've got some more people in. So let me just hit to the point. So Maze Rats. Now, Never Fear is running a character, Finn the Peddler, in my live online Maze Rats, which, by the way, you can join in on that. You can come in. I'm trying to do it every weekend, maybe every other weekend. But if you come in, you can just passively watch, or you can jump into the comments, kind of like Never Fear did, to let me know my stream was frozen. And you can participate. Sometimes it's coming up with a name. It could be coming up with a full character like Never Fear, Finn the Peddler, or it could be some level in between. We had Ref Tom Green coming in, helping out with names and doing some different stuff, and it was great. My connection still looks good. That's great. So with Maze Rats, I wanted to use the system. I wanted to do West March's campaign, which you must check out Me, Myself, or Die. Super popular channel. Trevor Duvall, voice actor. His show is awesome, and it's the one that gave me the idea for West Marches. I wanted to run a campaign system with an easy system. This is very easy. And the idea, I have 7 people currently that are signed up. And I've got one that hasn't made it to the first 2 sessions, but that's okay. Actually, two that haven't made it because I added another individual. But the idea is that there are enough folks, 7. It would be a little tough for me to run it with all 7. I could do it. I'm at the level where I could do it DM-wise. But it doesn't matter because right now the game happens on the first Sunday of every month. That's the hard date. We're going to start at 3, probably run till 6 or 7 p.m. And it's going to happen. Hopefully people schedule for it. But so far I've only had, what was the max? What did I have, 5? Yeah, I think I had 5. Maybe it's 4. But I've had sessions, and not everybody's going to make it. Now they could. And then we would have a very big session. But if only 2 make it, that's fine. It's going to happen no matter what, unless there's just me. So West Marches is, and then I've created, so that's the idea. One, it's going to be evolutionary. I would love to even maybe go to every 2 weeks. That's my plan, but I've got to get folks on board. I want them hooked to the story, hooked to their character, hooked to the situation where they start asking me, can we do this more often? I can. It is possible. I've had a couple people say, hey, I can't make this session. If my wife and I come over, just us, could we run a little sideline thing with just us? Yes. Yes, you can. You just got to network with me. But let me set up the premise first. So first, the premise is that you got a reason. Why are all these people together? Why are they coming together? I'm showing there could be a little bit of lag coming up here again. Not good. Okay. Let me know in the comments if I start to lag again, although I'll watch. I've got my little warning meter up here that the connection's close. So what this is, where was that? Oh, the setting. The setting is fantasy, maze rats. The idea is that a millennia ago, 1,000 years ago, there was a pestilence that came through. Somewhat familiar. What was interesting was it would kill folks that weren't into magic, but the magic users that got afflicted, yeah, I had a bit of lag. Okay, now. Perfect. Yeah, drop back out. Keep letting me know. I wish I could be wired. I've got 100 feet of Cat 5 somewhere and I can't find it. Cannot find it. And that's how many feet I would need. But is what it is. Is what it is. So the magic users would lose all connection to magic. Basically death for them. Almost worse. They're still alive, but they can't tap into their world. So a decision. Both the regular people were terrified, they were dying, and the magic users were terrified. And they self-segregated. It was decided a millennia ago that they would move to a whole other region and use magical means to wall that region off from everybody else. There's a river that's kind of cursed, and there's a mountain range, and they're on the backside of that, and that's all the magic went that way. So in the regular world that my characters are coming from, magic is maze rats like. Maze rats means if you're into the magic, you start with a single slot. Everybody are level ones when they start. Extremely weak. You could die at any time. But if you're a magic user, you got one slot. You can use that magic once. It's random. It's like you've learned something, but you can't quite trigger it off. You know a little bit of Latin, but you can't get the Latin right every time when you say it. And it ends up with different odd meanings. Some of that up for interpretation by the user when it happens. I may do a deal on maze rats later, but you can have like a physical and ethereal, and then there's these different things. So you get these wild magic triggers, like you would with someone who's a novice. They don't understand magic. But these folks have been gone for 1,000 years, and people have ventured into their area, and there's rumors that maybe some people have crossed back into the normal non-magic area because magic still slightly stayed alive, but no one's ever officially come back if they went to the magic area. But suddenly some folks came back, and they made a lot of money. Think gold rush. Think the California gold rush. And a wealthier person set up a base camp, think a forted inn with a graveyard that was suggested I had to have, and a progressive, a table where they have a map, and the idea is he's going to stake these strangers that have come in to make their fortune. Hence, this is how everybody comes together, and then off they go. The river, which is inky black, has sunk a little bit, and stones or calcified dragon spine have showed up, and you can jump across, hop across. It's called the Dragon's Back. I have a photo, but I can't get to it right now. It's a cool little photo. I won't be able to get it in, but using Dolly 2, I came up with these stepping stones that look like a dragon's back that get people across. You don't want to fall into the water. It doesn't even really look like water. So here's where we're at. That's the setup for the campaign. That brings these disparate strangers together. They now have a purpose. Anything they come back, there's money that can be made. The benefactor, whoever that is, gains 10% of whatever they make, but they can become rich and famous and everything else. Now, Maze Rats is an exploration. This is an adventure, an exploration adventure. The idea is that as they move forward, they can make money, but they're also expected to explore and to learn an area and to make connections and to make things easier for those that will come behind them and move forward. But they're definitely on this like Lewis and Clark adventure style, and they know very little. So the very first thing is as they come across the dragon's back, one, they can see it's inky black and there's creatures or things moving beneath the surface. Don't fall in. Nobody's fallen in yet. Once they get across, they're into the steps. It's like a prairie grass, but short grass. And as they move forward, they ran into imagine the Mongolian people, short, stout horses, but they had these eagles on them. And I even found some pictures that show these Mongolian type tribes today that have these giant golden eagles. And that became part of the lore of this. Now they ended up having Maze Rats is all about tough choices. Hold on, what do we got here? What do we got here? Is there a reason why any of the characters are after money, like to pay off a debt or something? Yes. Would I have them explain on top of it? They each have the option. They don't have to. They each have the option of having a special item. They don't even have to have it at the start. If something comes later, they can fill it in. And that's happened with some. Some had an idea right off the bat. What is this special item? This one gal who's playing had these like Christmas bells, jingle bells that would normally be on like a sleigh or something. She silenced them, and I can't even give it justice, so I won't do it. She had these meanings between both of these. I think they were gifted to her by her father and mother before they passed. She had this beautiful story, and she keeps them close to her body. She won't get rid of these. They are very sentimental. And so she had these type of items. The other thing is, do they have a reason of why they wanted to come and be on this like front tip of this Lewis and Clark gold rush idea? It's very dangerous. And so they're encouraged to figure out what that could be and to role play toward that, but they don't have to. My son is greedy. He's greedy and lazy, and he's role playing that character, which is irritating to some of the other in-game characters. They're like, this guy's just out for himself, and he role plays brilliantly. He's very good. I've got another guy who's all about he's got to make money to save his family, but we'll come back to that. So it's situations, not plots, and they run into a group of 5 riders that are pursuing a lone rider. And it turns out the lone rider gets to them first. I won't go through everything that happens, but she's a young gal, like a 13-year-old girl who's got this beautiful golden eagle that she's unhooded and sent aloft to fly. Turns out it's flying back to her tribe. Again, not Mongols, but imagine that short, stout horse, Mongolian-like attire. But of course, this is a fictional world. They're they have a little bit of time to decide. She's asking for help, although they don't quite speak the same language. And what do we got here? Interesting how you could build so much with something as light as Maze Rats. Yeah, the key of Maze Rats, where the rules were so light, I could add a lot of story, but the rules didn't bring complexity to the game. Yes, I am using Mythic for many situations. I'll even let the players roll. And then when they get a result, I'll even ask them, do you think this is likely, unlikely? What are your odds? That way they're involved in that. Now, I'm still GMing it, but I want them to feel that randomness. There's no screens here. It's all open. And I want them to then say, oh, this is an extreme no. What does that mean? It could mean this. It could mean this. And then they'll usually fill in. If they don't know, my imagination's crazy, and I'll just layer it in, and they'll pick with something and they'll run with it. But again, the idea was I want to present them with the situation. Do they defend this younger girl? But there's 5 riders coming after her. That's right, my very first run, there was only 4 of them. Maybe 5. I can't remember now. I played too many games. But the situation's in doubt. They may not win this. And it was funny. My son's character actually said, I think we should side with the 5, even though we don't know what they want to do. And one of the other characters got upset and said they may want to enslave her, kill her, or assault her. I can't do that. And they were like, boom. And it was characters doing it. I was like, yes. And and my boy's character was like, I just think we're making a mistake. This could be a very short expedition right here, right now. And they decided to go that way anyway, but then they were able to, there's randomness, and they were able to come up with a way, I won't go through all of it, that they were able to use some items that weren't magic. It was a mirror to trade with and to come with peace and to make a deal. And then they befriended this gal. They did a very good job. And then they befriended, the tribe befriended them. Then they had this incredible experience. They each paired off. I made sure I kind of checked in. What are you all doing? And my kind of fighter hunter guy ended up connecting up with the lead hunter fighter of the tribe. And they even got into an arrow shooting contest. They had these short little bows that are meant for horseback, like the Mongolians. He had more of a larger long bow, and they had some fun. Another character was drinking fermented like goat's milk and enjoying that, and all this other stuff was going on. It was awesome. Then we moved into, hey, that tribe was a peaceful tribe, and I used, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of the book, and I don't have it. There's a book that helps you say, hey, if you come up with tribal names, they should all be in the same vein. And I used Hungarian names for both tribes. They're one's more a warlike tribe, one is more peace, and my group's aligned with the peaceful side, but they send out an expedition to go talk to the more warlike tribe. That then leads to, they go off, and all they know is they're in the steppes, but they can see a ring of mountains that rings all the way around, and they're told there's hill people there, and they're not pleasant people. That led to an expedition to there and some combat that happened. My son ended up doing some crazy climbing up a cliff face. There's a castle that clearly was not constructed by these hill people, but it's occupied by them, giving you this idea that things have devolved in this magical land and what is going on. Now, just to explain where this will go, and I don't know all the answers, I'm using Mage Wars, or Mage Wars Arena and Mage Wars Academy. There's 12 different mages. I got to do my 10 plus the 2. And the idea is that these will be schools of magic that are in place that ostracize themselves. They self-ostracize to avoid this pestilent plague. They're going to discover these regions, either called the 12 fingers, I don't know, or the 12 clicks of the clock, I don't know. It'll be something where there's these regions that are governed by a style of magic, using the cards from Mage Wars Arena and Academy to help visualize all of this and to give me those guides for what they've run into, which will be random. So if you run into a priest or priestess area, you can imagine religion and beautiful cities and cathedrals and the people aligned with that, and knights. But what if you run into a warlock area? It's demons and, weird fireballs and all kinds of danger from that. And then you have druids and monks and warlords and warlock, sirens, paladins, elementalist, force master. I can't remember all of them. There's 12. They haven't even gotten to there yet. They've tapped into the mountains a little bit and back, but everything's in decline over here. And something's happened that lowered the water, that revealed the dragon's back, that allowed them to cross in. Everything's hostile. They've even been shadowed by something that the native peoples have told them are, they didn't say this, but my players picked up on it real quick, that it's almost like a Sasquatch that's been shadowing them. And the hunters picked up some footprints. And here's the side. So we'll break out of that because it can get bored hearing about settings and world building. But here's what's cool that's happened. So my hunter was real quick about when he was hanging out with this other guy who's their lead hunter, while they were traveling from tribe to go confab or meet with the other tribe on why they were messing with this girl who ended up being the daughter of the chieftain of the friendly tribe. He'd said, hey, I want the guy I made friends with. Are there any berries that are edible or ones I should watch out for that are poisonous? And he ended up finding some moss that was good for packing a wound and some different, I think, mushrooms or something. So he did a very good job. But by the end of the first round, he's like, I want an eagle. And I really, really want it. And I explained to him, well, this tribe, they raise the eagles, but you have to raise a hatchling. And it's an involved process, and outsiders aren't part of this process. He's like, I want to become a member of the tribe. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know it was going to go there. And I said, okay. So I explained to him the way this world works is it's wide open. He could have a character decide he's going to stay and be a member of this tribe. And I said, you can quit playing that character and create a new one. And this will become an NPC character who may show up, who you can connect with. He's a bridge between two worlds. And it was funny, the player got torn. He's like, I know my character would want to stay with these people, but I have an obligation to my family. And so he's torn. He wants to actually make enough money. Now it's changed to go get his family and to maybe bring them in and to become members of this tribe. And they've got this cool thing. So there are these, like, imagine these Scottish yaks or cattle that have long hair, but these are like Mongolian yaks at the same time, but their hair is thin and like a beautiful blonde woman's hair. And he knows this hide will be highly prized back in his world. And he went on a hunt, but the way these herd animals work is they're almost like a single gelatinous organism. There's about 100 of them, but they'll move in a group and they will stampede and they will be packed together, and that gelatinous group will destroy you. And on the fly, they got invited to go hunt. And what this native tribe would do is dig these pits deep enough that a single yak or whatever, they're these long-haired, beautiful cattle would fall into. So the herd would move and then boom, one would drop in and then off they would go, and they could come back later and take that single, or they dug multiple pits, so they would push the herd toward them or suck them toward one by using human bait. And then he's got a couple hides and he wants to go sell them. If he has a strong bond with the tribe, he can always come back to the tribe. Yeah, that's kind of what he's talking about. He got so into it that he's nervous. He's going to sell these hides, hopefully get enough money that he can get his family. But he's also worried that what happened to the American bison could happen here, that, oh, the very first area you come into, you can hunt these dangerous but beautiful creatures that are worth a lot of money with their hide. And he's worried that he could destroy these people's livelihood, much like the American Indian. Yet he's going to use it for his purposes. He gets this he's really torn. So this is the human whose character is torn. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just great. This is what I was hoping to do when we played West Marches. And we're just at the beginning. We've only done 2 sessions. But he's already sitting here thinking, if I sell these hides, well, someone's going to do it anyway. But if I do it, I could get my family here. But then are we going to have to defend from all these outsiders? So he could end up becoming a negative to the group even. Who knows? It's awesome. He has a strong bond with the tribe, yes. And what happened to his family? I think he's destitute for some reason. I can't remember his full backstory. They're still there, but they're counting on him. And he feels an obligation to that. He's explained that to the group. But after being around the tribe and making a personal connection with their tribal group, he even took down one of these yaks with his own arrow, which they hadn't seen. They got one from his arrow and one from the pit. Oh, tons have happened in just 2 sessions. It's amazing. It's the gift of role playing. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And when I'm done with a session, I ask everybody, what do you want to do next time we meet? And they'll tell me, and I make little notes so I kind of know what to prep for. Lots of prep. So the tribe, their name is the Airjin people, and it means clear water. They live near a spring. And I had 10 names just ready to go, not knowing the significance. And then what happened was I also had some characteristics for them, just random. So I pre-prepped using maze rats and using a name generator. And then randomly they rolled, and what we ended up with was Try was unkempt and shabby, and he was a bowman. And that's the one that this character I'm mostly talking about connected with. What's funny is he wasn't even the main character of our group. There's a gal named Claire who had a character. She's playing a character named oh shoot, what's his name? It's biblical. I can't remember. It's not Joshua. She's playing this character that everybody said she needs 3 experience points for what she did. She resolved that conflict with the 5 other tribesmen peacefully and made a trade for the girl with a pocket mirror that she was randomly given in Maze Rats. And they thought it was magical. And she said, I'll just trade for it. And so she really kind of saved the day. But everybody connected up with the character. So I did some pre-work. There's even pre-work for the more hostile tribe. And then I had some pre-work on some things they could run into. They haven't even run into the monster called the hippodillo. It's a hippo crossed with an armadillo. Yes, very deadly. Don't mess with it. Very hard. Just hold on. Don't show the notes on stream. Players might see it. Those are fine. They saw me with that, and I had them roll, and then I did characters, and a couple of them were like, what's going on? I can't remember. No, it was like Judah. It was Judah, I think. I think it's Judah, because I remember thinking, Judah, wow. Or Judas. Drop the pin. Might be Judas. I thought, wow, what's her character going to do? So, some pre-prep. I'm ready to go on the fly. The Mythic emulator helping me answer yes, no questions or getting the feel for their percentages of success. And then the giant world that runs. Like they don't even know. They know there's magic, and I've kind of hinted that their goal is over the other side of the mountains, but they don't know why. They don't know what they're about to run into. If they watch this, yes, Judas I think it was Judas. It might have been Judah. I can't remember. Something like that. I'd have to look. I've got their player sheets. Well, now I got to know. The other thing is organization. So for my live Maze Rats, look at this, live Maze Rats. Inside here is Chadwick Dunlow, and Finn the Peddler. In here is Judah or whoever, and some of my rules. What is it? Yeah, and some of them pick really regular names like Leroy. Okay. Sorry, they're all packed in. Now I gotta know. Hold on. Yeah, Judah. Judah. So it is Judah. Let's see. Yeah, so not Judas, but Judah. We've got some folks in here, and what am I at? 33 minutes, and I'm still enjoying some Ardbeg. Yes. So Chief's vlog. Leroy Jenkins. I don't know. I was like, and there's also a Larry. I'm like, what are these names? It's funny though. He's the one that climbed the wall. That's my son's character, and I think he thought he was going to die, and he should have. But he did this heroic effort. Everybody was like, holy moly. And then he scouted this like castle. Now they're calling him Leroy the Leech because they don't like him. He's this lazy, greedy character. And I was like, this is perfect. Leroy the Leech, the way he clung to the wall. And I'm like, man, this thing's just unfolding. And it's amazing. Kind of like Ardbeg. So to bring it back in, hopefully my enjoyment is coming through. I got to be honest, and 1911 knows this. My enjoyment of the Maze Rats live is coming along too. The way we explored the docks and named the areas. By the way, Ben Milton, the creator of Maze Rats and Knave, he early on would do these things on how to draw maps. I'm not an artist at all. But he had this cool thing on how to do a city. And after we did our last Maze Rats, I was intrigued, and I wanted to make the docks and the slums. And this is just a hint of that part of the map. So you can see the little dock area. You can tell the slums are all these areas jammed in. And I've been numbering them. And so that way we know where the Sisters of Eternal Grace, I think, where they live inside the slums. We know where the bleak moon is. We know where the wanton elephant is. We know where the upscale fish mart is. And I've been putting it on the map. Now, the map's been tough, and there's some areas that look a little weird because I haven't fleshed it all out because I don't know what we're going to do. I didn't know we were going to have a slums down there. I'll show this map in a little more detail when I next do the live episode of Maze Rats Live. But it's been awesome. And I need to find time to still film maybe the last 3 episodes of my Blade Runner Free League show that 1911 likes as well. If you had your son, if you and your son are fine with it, a mythic guided session of Maze Rats would be interesting to see on the channel. Yes, I don't know. He has his own channel. What is it? He's been picking up lately. He's thrilled because he has, hold on. I'm going to plug him here. Volts Cannon, Volts Cannon. Now he's doing a video game, Minecraft. So it's very different. And but if you get a chance, go check out Volts Cannon for a 16-year-old youthful view. But he's been picking up, and he's doing a show every week and everything else. I don't know if he would want to film a session or not. He might. We'll see. We'll see. I used to have him when I was doing board game reviews when he was like 5. He would come on, and I think that's where he got the bug. So, all right. We're at 37 minutes. I'll stop the Chiefs vlog at 45. If anybody else has any questions about a West Marches campaign, it sometimes isn't entertaining to explain all the backstory of what I've got going on, other than what I'm also doing is training myself on how to run in-person sessions, how to run live sessions, 1911, with participation from the viewers. That's an interesting wrinkle. And how to do my Twilight 2000 solo play or my Blade Runner solo play. I actually think Blade Runner works better solo, in my opinion, than it does as a group. But that's just me. When I watch Blade Runner, either of the movies, it feels like you're that solo character. That's just my opinion. But I've got 3 different types of games going, and it's been a blast. It's just keeping them all, and I want to play other ones. I want to get into space, but I need to come back to Twilight 2000 and the Orphans. I need to finish off, as 1911 knows, Hack and what he's doing as he works through his mystery that he's working through, and I love it all. So it's been good. But the West Marches campaign is definitely exciting. I was so excited after the first episode. I tried to set up a one for 2 weeks later, and people were like, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know, they kind of like that preset. I'm dealing with a bunch of adults and they have kids. And so I've set, other than my son's the youngest, I set that first Sunday of every month, and they can mark that and carve out that time for it. And we come together around the table, which is awesome. And me having to get used to it. It's funny because I'll do a lot of play with my son where we're not filming, but it was me like getting used to Maze Rats, and he's running the action. He's got this character with these dual sickles, and he was getting crazy with potions and all this awesome stuff. And then I'm running a character because I'll use Mythic to do it. I'm running what's her name? She's a nun in training, a young girl who got saddled with this warrior. She has to go out into the world and learn some things before she can become a full nun. An officiant? No, that's not the right word. But it's fun playing this character that is so a female character, a young character. She has to venture forth. She's very good, almost like she's going to be priestly. She's weak. She's got a crossbow. She's just this young gal, and matched her up with this deadly fighter who only took on her as an officiant, and I can't remember, because he owed a favor to her uncle. And even that was like, oh my God. My boy was like, I don't want to do this. My character doesn't want to do this, but he owes this uncle everything. He even told him, hey, if you ever need a favor. And he said, funny you mention it. I have a daughter. She has to go out and do her 1 year or 2 year, trek. And I would like you to be her guide. And he was like, I don't want to do that. And she's already gotten the fighter into some trouble. Like they came across a guy that was a slave, and she wanted to free him, and she did so, and that caused a problem. And she probably would have been killed if she was on her own, but she's not on her own. This great fighter who wanted to just mind his own business and have her mind her business couldn't. And so once the combat started, he was full in. And then she was even a little bit like, well, we're doing the right thing, but couldn't you have dealt with that better? And he was like, I believe you got me into this. It was awesome. Want to know where Hack's Tale goes. I also want to follow the story of the orphans. I know. I want to do all these things as well. So here's the only thing I could do. If this channel blows up, which it probably won't, it's doing great. I love the interaction I have. If it blew up, instead of me retiring in 5 years, I could retire in 3 or 2. I doubt that'll happen. In which case, I'll keep throwing the stone forward, as one of my German friends, a game designer, says. I'll keep throwing the stone forward. And I want to get into a space deal, Death in Space. I want to play. I have a whole idea for that game. But my organization, it's fun. I went and read some things on how to even make sure I'm organizing my different role-playing games so that because every once in a while I'd be like ready to go live. You don't know this, 1911, but I'd be like, where's Finn the Peddler's sheet? I can't find it. Oh my God. And then I found it in my pack of my other Maze Rat stuff. And I'm like, okay, I got to get organized, right down to writing it on a file and keeping the map. There you go. And some stuff all in one place and in an area where I can find it easily. So my organization skills had to come to the next level. What do we got here? One at a time. Focus on finishing the Cyberpunk story. Yeah, the Blade Runner story is awesome. And with Mythic, not only am I using the Mythic emulator, I'm using loosely, not slavishly, their mystery runner as well, and letting it kind of guide and point me in different directions and things that are going on. So I like space stuff in general. Might be interested to see it on the channel. Yeah, I want to do a lot of stuff. Post a high-res image somewhere of the map. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to. I don't have. Where would I put it? I don't know. We'll see. And the map is just slowly evolving. So I made a downtown area because I kind of know what that is. But then I left the other areas open because we don't know what we might run into. So there's blocks that are just empty. What's weird is you've got to know like regions. There's regional themes in Maze Rats, so I'm going to stay true to that. One could be a graveyard. That whole area could just be a graveyard that we come across, kind of like we found the slums. So I've left some purposely unfulfilled. Hopefully I filled out some, hopefully not too much. It was fun, but I had to be careful. All right, we're at 44 minutes. I'm going to wrap soon. So just a little ending here. I'm using Maze Rats to do a lot. I'm using it for a live in-person West Marches campaign. And this campaign feels like I'm sucking in the players. And I feel like this campaign with the group that I have right now, 7 of them, could run for years. There's a depth here that is awesome. And they're nervous. They know Maze Rats is deadly. They have some investment into their characters, but they also know it's real quick to make new characters. But their caution before the fight was awesome. And then Claire coming up with a way that was more of a barter. Hey, let us have the girl, you can have the mirror. She literally traded for the safety of the girl. They didn't know what this other tribe planned on doing. They even do a confab later, and they don't quite know what the other tribe planned to do. It certainly looked hostile. But they're connecting with that tribe, which is more warrior-like as well. It's been very interesting. And then I've got my son and I gaming with nothing, and then what I'm doing online. Oh, let me spend some time on that. So when you see, click the bell if you want to get notifications. And mostly on Saturdays or Sundays, I will go live. 1911 knows this. He'll come in and join. You can just watch things unfold and see, do I like this? Or you can start to get involved. 1911 has his own character, makes decisions, rolls dice, and it all takes place with me popping it up on the screen. Other characters, Ref Tom Green. I'm like, hey, I got to come up with 5 different buildings for this docks region. I rolled for one, or maybe 1911 rolled for it. And hey, Ref, give me a name. Boom. One of the places was a tattooist, and it was called Night Inc. That Ref came up with that name. So Ref started helping with the naming. So it's making things easier for me and participatory from the viewer. Then another character who said, I think he's in his 70s, which is why I wanted to do a show I just filmed on RPGing when you're 60 plus and role-playing when you're 60 plus. But he came in later in the comments and thought that one of the Mythic Emulator random events I had was more of a high-level fantasy thing that was going on with these royal robes and some intrigue with who was the king or who was the prince in charge. And I said, I love all that. Thank you. I'm going to incorporate that into what we're doing. So he was able to put something in the comments later, and it became part of the story. And then I've had other people pop in and just help name something or mention something. And my hope is that this starts to become more and more participatory from the viewership. Vorpal was in. Now, Vorpal, it wasn't quite a game for him. And he threw some things in the mix there that were fine. I still think it was a net positive. Go watch episode 3 to see how things were coming unhinged, but how the story wrapped together and how Finn the Peddler, 1911's character, ended up saving the day with this critical hit on this bear snake, which really catapulted the story. I thought we were going to die there, and it would be the end of this live experience. Nope, we did not, thanks to 1911 and to the weird antics of Lord Vorp, which was interesting. So that's just some of it. Let me do this last comment, and then I'll sign off. What character in a tabletop role-playing game isn't the stats or the gear? What a character, it's their stories and investments in the world. You can create a character fast, but can't produce some investment in the character right away. Right. Well, that's part of where the West Marches is nice. The story, your character gets, take my guy that wants to raise an eagle. When we started, he wanted to be a hunter. It was nerve-wracking. Yeah, he wanted to be a hunter. He wanted to be a tracker, a survivalist type character. Next thing you know, he's connected with this tribe, and he's literally debating going native, staying with this tribe. And he said, can I do that? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You'll do a new character. This character here, Dell is his character's name, will become a member of this tribe, an honorary member. And he may pop up. I almost guarantee he'll pop up on occasion. But Dell might even get a little bit antagonistic. He may not like people coming over and hunting these long-haired yaks. So it could be a problem to future folks. And he was like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. So, he might be able to dabble in one, say, hey, I'm playing Dell on this one. Or, hey, you know what? Dell would be in this area doing X. Got it. I'll run it. And that is the beauty of West Marches. It's the beauty of the depth of the character coming alive as you play it. and the danger that you feel for the character as you play said character. They can die, and you'll just create a new one. But you can park them in places too, and they'll be persistent members of the story if they live in that position. So, all right, that is it. I have some other stuff I have to do and edit. But enjoy, have fun. West Marches, great thing. Get out and play. By the way, I don't think it's up yet, but you're going to be able to go to Ben Milton. The Kickstarter's over for Knave 2E, but there's Maze Rats, which is going to be a professional booklet. He is going to have some pre-order site there. I don't think there's info on that yet, but go check out Questing Beast. That's his YouTube channel. He talks about it, and I think you can go to the Kickstarter. There'll be more information coming out as it goes. But that's it. You can also go to Drive Through RPG, and you can print out your own little booklet like I did. Boom. All right. See you guys later. Have fun. Get your game on. See you guys and gals